Hey guys, tonight will you open your eyes beneath a heavy wool blanket, surrounded by the quiet creaking of old wooden beams, the smell of smoke from a dying fire, and the cold breath of a northern morning slipping through the walls. You are no longer in your comfortable modern world. Tonight, you wake up as a Viking warrior in 900 AD, where the sea is endless, the nights are long, and every sunrise brings another challenge. You can hear footsteps outside, the distant sound of animals, and someone preparing the first meal of the day. Somewhere nearby, your sword waits. Your boots are cold. Your hands are rough. And yes, you probably won't survive this lifestyle for very long without complaining about the weather at least once. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, tell me where you're listening from and what your local time is right now. It's always fascinating to imagine these old journeys reaching people all around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The first thing you notice is not the sword, not the stories of battles, and not the idea of adventure that later generations would attach to the word Viking. The first thing you notice is the cold. The kind of cold that feels like it has been waiting for you before you even woke up. Your fingers move slightly under the thick blanket, searching for warmth. The fabric is heavy and smells faintly of wool, smoke, and the simple life of a place where everything you own has a purpose. There are no soft pillows, no glowing lights, no gentle sounds of machines working in the background. Only the slow rhythm of a settlement waking up. You are lying inside a longhouse, a large wooden building where people live, work, eat, and sleep together. Around you, others are beginning their morning. Someone coughs near the fire. Someone else quietly moves across the floor. A child laughs for a moment, before being told to be quiet because everyone is still half asleep. You slowly sit up. The roof above you is made of wood and covered with layers meant to keep out rain and snow. It works, mostly. But the northern wind always finds a way through small cracks, reminding everyone that nature is still in charge. Your first thought is simple. You are cold. Your second thought is even simpler. You are hungry. Being a Viking warrior sounds impressive when people tell stories centuries later. They imagine ships cutting through waves, warriors carrying shields, and fearless explorers traveling into unknown lands. But before any battle, before any journey, before any legend, there is always a normal morning. And your normal morning begins with work. You look around and remember pieces of your new life. Your clothing is simple: a wool tunic, thick trousers, and a belt holding small tools you use every day. The clothes are practical because surviving matters more than looking impressive. Your hands are already telling the story of your life. They are not soft. They are the hands of someone who has chopped wood, repaired boats, handled weapons, carried supplies, and worked through harsh seasons. You stand up carefully because the floor is cold beneath your feet. Near the center of the longhouse, the fire is still glowing. It is not just for warmth. The fire is the heart of the home. It cooks food, provides light, dries wet clothing, and gives everyone a place to gather. You move closer. The warmth feels like a treasure. A small pot hangs above the flames. Inside, a simple meal is being prepared. There is no luxury breakfast waiting for you, no endless choices. A Viking morning meal is about fuel, something that gives you strength for the day ahead. Maybe some bread, maybe leftover meat, maybe a little porridge. Whatever is available. The people around you understand something important. Food is survival. Every meal has been earned. Outside, the settlement begins to wake fully. The sounds grow louder. Animals need attention. Tools need repairing. Wood needs cutting. Nets need fixing. Boats need checking. Even warriors cannot spend every day holding a sword and looking dramatic. Most of life is maintenance. Your sword needs care. Your clothes need repair. Your shelter needs fixing. Your food needs preparing. The heroic image of the Viking warrior hides a very ordinary truth. You are always tired. You step outside the longhouse, and the cold air hits your face immediately. The landscape stretches around you. Trees stand in the distance. Smoke rises from other homes. The ground is hard beneath your feet. This is your world now, a world where winter is not just a season. Winter is an enemy. You look toward the sea. Somewhere beyond that water are distant lands, unknown shores, and possible dangers. Viking ships will travel across those waters, carrying warriors, traders, and explorers. But today, the sea is quiet. The waves move slowly. The world feels peaceful, for now. You know that peace never lasts forever. Soon there will be training. Soon there will be decisions. Soon you may need to prove yourself among people who measure strength by what you can endure. But for this moment, you simply stand in the cold morning air. A Viking warrior waking up in 900 AD. Not a legend. Not a story. Just a person trying to survive another day in the north. And as the fire behind you continues to crackle, you begin your journey into a life shaped by ice, ocean, courage, and endless struggle. The cold morning continues, and you slowly begin to understand that being a Viking warrior is not about dramatic battles every day. It is about surviving the small battles that appear before the sun is even fully awake. You stand outside the longhouse, feeling the sharp northern air on your face. The world around you is quiet, but not empty. A Viking settlement never truly sleeps. There is always something to repair, something to carry, something to prepare. The first task is simple: wood. Without wood, there is no fire. Without fire, there is no warmth, no cooking, and no protection from the freezing nights. You pick up an axe and walk toward a pile of logs waiting nearby. The handle feels familiar in your hands. It is not a weapon right now. It is a tool, a simple piece of wood and metal that keeps your life moving. You begin chopping. The sound echoes through the settlement. Thump, thump, thump. Nearby, other villagers and warriors are doing the same. Everyone has a role. The strongest warrior and the most skilled craftsman both depend on the same things: food, shelter, and preparation. A Viking who cannot maintain his own life does not last long. As you work, you notice the settlement slowly becoming active. Smoke rises from rooftops. People walk between buildings carrying supplies. Animals move around the yards. Children run through the paths until someone calls them back. This is home. Not a perfect home, not an easy home, but home. You look at the people around you and realize something surprising. The Viking world is not only made of warriors. Farmers, builders, hunters, traders, and craftsmen are just as important. The stories told later will focus on swords and ships. But those things exist because ordinary people spend every day creating the foundation. A sword does not appear by magic. A ship does not sail without someone repairing it. A warrior does not fight without someone growing food. Your morning continues with another responsibility: checking your equipment. Your shield hangs nearby. It has marks from previous struggles. Small cuts and scratches cover the surface. Each mark has a memory behind it. The Vikings value their tools, because tools are part of survival. Your clothing is also important. A torn tunic in the middle of winter is not a small problem. It can become dangerous quickly. You inspect your boots and tighten your belt. The leather is worn but strong. Everything you carry has a purpose. There is no room for unnecessary things. The cold reminds you of that. As the day grows brighter, you walk toward the edge of the settlement, where the sea can be seen. The water stretches endlessly, dark and powerful. This sea is your road. It can bring wealth. It can bring danger. It can bring you to lands you have never imagined. But it can also take everything away. The older warriors speak about the sea with respect. They do not treat it like an enemy they can defeat. They understand that nature is stronger than any person. A calm sea can become a monster in minutes. A clear sky can become a storm. A journey that begins with excitement can end with everyone fighting simply to stay alive. You watch the ships resting near the shore. Their wooden bodies are carefully built. They are not just transportation. They are proof of skill and patience. Every piece matters. Every plank. Every rope. Every joint. A Viking ship is a creation made from hundreds of small decisions. You imagine yourself standing on one of those ships, traveling across unknown waters. The thought is exciting and terrifying. You return to the settlement as the smell of food fills the air. The meal is simple: But after working in the cold, it feels like a feast. You sit with others near the fire. The conversation is calm. People talk about weather, animals, repairs, and plans. Some warriors discuss training. Others talk about possible journeys. You listen carefully. In this world, knowledge is survival. The older Vikings have experience that cannot be written in books. They know how to read the sea, how to notice changes in weather, and how to survive when things go wrong. You begin to understand that becoming a Viking warrior is not only about strength. It is about patience, awareness, endurance. The afternoon arrives, and training begins. You move outside with your shield. Your body is still adjusting to this life, but you follow the others. The exercises are repetitive, again and again. Move, block, step, strike. The purpose is not to look impressive. The purpose is to survive. Every movement must become natural. In a real fight, there may be no time to think. The cold wind continues blowing, but nobody stops. Because in the north, waiting for perfect conditions means waiting forever. The sun begins moving lower, and you realize how quickly the day passes. A Viking day is filled with work from beginning to end. There are no shortcuts, no easy solutions. Only preparation for tomorrow. As evening approaches, you return to the longhouse. The fire is brighter now. The outside world becomes darker, colder, and quieter. You sit near the warmth, listening to the sounds around you. The laughter, the stories, the crackling flames. For a moment, you forget about battles and distant lands. You are simply part of this place. A warrior among many. A person trying to survive the frozen north. And tomorrow will bring another challenge. The morning slowly disappears into afternoon, and you begin to understand that the longhouse is not just a place where you sleep. It is the center of your entire world. Everything happens here. Meals, stories, repairs, arguments, celebrations, quiet moments. The longhouse is alive. You step inside again, leaving the cold wind behind. The warmth immediately surrounds you. The difference between outside and inside feels almost magical. A few moments ago, you were standing in freezing air. Now you are near the fire, surrounded by voices and movement. The first thing you notice is how everyone shares the space. There are no separate rooms like the ones you might imagine today. The longhouse is one large open area. Wooden posts support the roof. Benches line the walls. Furs and blankets cover sleeping areas. Privacy is rare. Life is shared. For a Viking family, this is normal. You walk along the side of the hall and see people working on different tasks. Someone is spinning wool into thread. Someone is repairing clothing. Someone is carving wood carefully, creating a useful object from a simple piece of material. Every person contributes. The cold northern environment does not allow anyone to waste time. A broken tool cannot simply be replaced. A damaged coat cannot be ignored. Everything must be repaired and reused. You sit near the fire for a moment and watch. A small child nearby is learning how to handle simple tasks. An older person explains something patiently. The child listens, sometimes getting distracted, sometimes making everyone laugh. Even in this harsh world, life continues. There are smiles. There are jokes. There are moments of peace. The Viking world is often remembered only for battles, but most days are not spent fighting. Most days are spent living. You notice a table being prepared for another meal. The food is simple but important. A large bowl is placed down. People gather. Meals are social moments. Everyone sits together, and stories travel around the fire along with the food. You take your place among the others. The meal is not fancy. There is no endless supply. But after a day of work, it feels valuable. You eat slowly and listen. Someone talks about the weather. Someone talks about a fishing trip. Someone tells a story from years ago. The older warriors have the best stories. They speak about journeys across the sea, strange lands and storms that nearly destroyed their ships. Every story seems to become bigger each time it is told. You cannot tell which parts are completely true and which parts have become legends. But that is part of the tradition. Stories keep memories alive. A warrior's achievements are not only remembered through objects, they are remembered through voices. After the meal, you help with small tasks. You might carry supplies. You might clean equipment. You might prepare for tomorrow. Because in this world, being a warrior does not mean avoiding ordinary work. A warrior is someone who is useful, strong enough to fight, skilled enough to survive, responsible enough to help. You look at the walls of the longhouse. Shields hang there. Weapons rest nearby. But they are not decorations. They are tools that represent protection. Every person here understands that danger can arrive without warning. A rival group, a bad harvest, a harsh winter, a sudden storm. The world outside the settlement is unpredictable. That is why everyone stays prepared. As the afternoon passes, you step outside again. The village has changed. The quiet morning has become a busy day. The sound of animals fills the air. People move between buildings. Smoke rises higher from cooking fires. You walk toward the water. The ships are still there, waiting. You place your hand on the side of one long ship. The wood feels rough beneath your fingers. This ship is more than a boat. It is a possibility. A Viking ship can bring you wealth. It can bring you danger. It can carry you to places you have only heard about in stories. But before you ever step onto the deck, you must understand something. The sea does not care how brave you are. It does not care how strong your sword arm is. It only cares if you are prepared. You look back at the settlement, the longhouse, the fire, the people. This is what you are protecting. Not just land, not just treasure. A way of life. The sun begins to move lower, and the air becomes colder again. You return toward the longhouse, knowing another night is coming. The darkness will arrive quickly. The cold will return. And tomorrow, there will be more work, more training, more preparation. Because a Viking warrior is not created in a single battle. A Viking warrior is shaped every day. By the cold, by the sea, by the endless effort of simply surviving. You sit near the fire once more, listening to the crackling flames. For a moment, everything feels peaceful. But deep inside, you know this peaceful life is only the beginning. The sea is waiting. And one day soon, you will answer its call. The next morning arrives quietly, but you already know what waits for you. Training. The word sounds simple, but in the Viking world, training is not just a way to become stronger. It is a way to stay alive. You wake before the settlement becomes fully active. The fire has burned low during the night, and the longhouse is colder than before. You pull your wool clothing closer around yourself and listen to the sounds of people slowly waking. A warrior must learn to move even when tired, especially when tired. You step outside and see the training area near the village. The ground is hard from the cold. A few warriors are already there, holding shields and practicing movements. They do not look like the legendary heroes from stories. They look like ordinary people. Some are young. Some are older. Some carry old injuries. But all of them understand one thing. A mistake in training is better than a mistake during a real fight. You walk toward them and pick up your shield. It feels heavy. The wooden surface is strong, but your arm quickly notices the weight. Holding a shield for a few minutes is easy. Holding one for hours while standing in freezing weather is something completely different. A more experienced warrior approaches you. He does not say much. Words are not always needed. He shows you the stance, feet apart, body balanced, shield forward, ready. You copy him. At first, your movements feel awkward. Your body wants to move faster, but speed without control is useless. The warrior corrects your position. Again, again, again. The same movements repeat. Step, block, turn, strike. The routine feels boring. But that is the point. A warrior does not depend on luck. A warrior depends on habits built through repetition. The wind blows across the field. Your hands become cold. Your shoulders begin to ache. You understand something important. The enemy is not always another warrior. Sometimes the enemy is exhaustion. Sometimes it is fear. Sometimes it is the weather itself. The training continues. Two warriors begin practicing with wooden swords. The weapons are not sharp, but they still require care. Even a training mistake can cause injury. You watch carefully. They move around each other, searching for openings. Not every battle is about strength. A stronger warrior can still lose if he is careless. The older fighters teach patience. Wait, observe, react. The Vikings who survive are not always the strongest. They are the ones who adapt. After practicing with shields, you move to endurance training. Carrying heavy objects, walking long distances, building stamina. Because battles are not short moments of excitement. They can last for hours. A warrior may need to stand, run, carry equipment, protect others, continue even when the body wants to stop. You begin to understand why Viking warriors respected endurance so much. The cold north creates tough people because it demands toughness. After training, you help clean and repair the equipment. Your shield has new marks from practice. You check it carefully. A damaged shield is a dangerous shield. The wooden surface must be strong. The grip must be secure. The leather parts must be fixed. Everything matters. Later you visit the blacksmith. The sound reaches you before you enter. Clang, clang, clang. Inside, the heat is intense compared to the freezing world outside. The blacksmith works near the fire, shaping metal with experience gained over many years. You watch as he creates and repairs tools, swords, axes, knives, simple objects that decide whether someone survives. The blacksmith does not rush. A weapon is not just metal. It is trust. A warrior carries it into danger, believing it will not fail. Outside again, you notice the ships near the water. The sight of them makes you curious. The warriors who train beside you will someday stand on those decks. They will leave familiar land. They will cross dangerous seas. They will face unknown places. But before any voyage, they must prepare. The settlement does not create warriors overnight. It creates them slowly, day by day, season by season. You return toward the longhouse as the afternoon fades. Your body is tired. Your hands hurt. Your clothes smell like smoke and cold air. But something has changed. You feel less like a stranger, more like someone who belongs here. The fire welcomes you again. The meal is waiting. The stories begin. And as you sit among the others, you realize the true strength of the Viking warrior is not only found in battle. It is found in the discipline to prepare every day. Because tomorrow might bring a storm, a journey, a fight, or simply another cold morning. And whatever comes, you will be ready. The days pass, and the idea of the sea becomes harder to ignore. Every morning you see the longships resting near the shore. They wait patiently, like sleeping animals. But unlike animals, these ships can carry you into a world of danger and opportunity. The older warriors speak about the ships with respect. They know that a longship is not just wood floating on water. It is a lifeline. It is a home during journeys. It is the difference between reaching a distant land and disappearing beneath the waves. Today, you are finally going to help prepare one. You walk toward the shore while the cold wind moves across the water. The beach is covered with stones and pieces of wood left behind from repairs. Nearby, warriors and builders are already working. Everyone has a task. Some check the ropes. Some inspect the wooden boards. Some prepare supplies for the journey. The ship must be ready before it carries anyone. You place your hand on the side of the longship. The wood is smooth in some places and rough in others. Years of work and repair have left their marks. This ship has a history. It has survived storms. It has carried warriors. It has returned safely. Maybe it has also carried people who never came back. You look at the narrow shape of the ship and realize something. The Vikings built their ships for speed. They were designed to move through water quickly and travel through shallow areas where larger ships could not go. This gave them an advantage. But speed also meant sacrifice. There is not much space. Every person and every object must have a purpose. On a long journey, comfort disappears. You climb onto the deck. It feels different from standing on land. The ship moves slightly beneath your feet, even though it is still tied to the shore. Your body notices immediately. The sea is always moving. The crew begins loading supplies, food, water, tools, weapons, clothing, everything needed for survival. A journey across the ocean is not like walking to another village. There are no easy stops, no friendly homes waiting, only the endless sea. You help carry barrels and place them carefully. The experienced sailors remind everyone to balance the weight. A poorly loaded ship can become dangerous. The ocean does not forgive mistakes. You look at the row of oars along the side. Those oars will soon become the rhythm of the journey. Push, pull, push, pull. Hours of movement, days of movement, sometimes in cold rain, sometimes under a bright sky. The strength of the crew matters. A single person cannot move the ship alone. The Vikings understand teamwork. A successful voyage depends on everyone doing their part. You meet the other warriors who will travel with you. Some are quiet, some are confident, some joke around to hide their nervousness. Because even experienced sailors feel fear. The sea is powerful. Anyone who says they are never afraid probably has not spent enough time looking at endless water. As the preparation continues, you learn about the small details. The sail must be checked. The ropes must be strong. The wooden joints must hold. The equipment must stay dry. The smallest failure can become a major problem far from land. You begin to appreciate the people who build these ships. They are not just making boats. They are creating survival machines. The afternoon arrives, and the crew practices rowing. Everyone takes a position. The first few attempts are not perfect. The rhythm is uneven. Some people pull too early. Some pull too late. The ship barely moves. The leader calls instructions. Again. Everyone tries. Again. Slowly, the movement becomes smoother. The oars rise and fall together. The ship begins sliding through the water. A small distance. But it feels important, because this is how journeys begin. Not with a dramatic moment, not with a great speech. With simple preparation. The sun lowers, and the crew returns to shore. The longship rests again. Tomorrow, it may carry you away from everything familiar. You stand there quietly, looking at the village behind you. The longhouse. The fire. The people. The land you know. Soon you may only see them from a distance. The thought feels strange, exciting, and uncomfortable. Because adventure always means slowly disappears behind you. The village that was once so familiar becomes smaller and smaller until it is only a collection of shapes along the edge of the land. You stand on the deck of the longship, watching the waves move beneath you. This is different from standing near the sea. On land, the ocean looks powerful. On the ship, you understand how powerful it truly is. The water moves in every direction. The ship rises. The ship falls. The wind pushes against the sail. The wooden boards creak with every wave. You hold on to the side and remind yourself that this is normal. At least normal for a Viking warrior. The crew moves around you with experience. They know where to stand. They know how to adjust the sail. They know how to respond when the ship moves unexpectedly. You are still learning. The first hours are exciting. The wind is strong but comfortable. The sky is clear. The ship moves smoothly across the water. The rhythm of the journey begins. The sound of the waves. The sound of the ropes. The sound of the oars moving through water. Everything blends together. For a moment you understand why people choose this life. The feeling of traveling into the unknown is powerful, but the sea has another side. A few hours later, the wind changes. The calm water becomes rougher. The waves grow larger. The same ocean that seemed peaceful now feels much more serious. The experienced sailors notice immediately. They begin making adjustments. The sail changes position. The crew prepares. Nobody panics. That is one of the first lessons of the sea. Fear is natural. Panic is dangerous. Everyone has a job. Everyone must do it. You grab your position and follow instructions. The ship moves up one wave, then down, up, then down. The cold water sprays across the deck. Your clothing becomes wet. The wind cuts through everything. You finally understand why preparation matters. A warm home, a dry fire, a comfortable bed, all of those things are now far away. Out here, you have only the ship and the people around you. The storm becomes stronger. The crew works harder. The oars move faster. The leader calls directions. Everyone responds. The longship is built for movement, but even the best ship can be challenged by the sea. The waves hit the sides. The wooden structure bends slightly. You can feel the power of nature all around you. There is no enemy warrior to fight. No shield to block the attack. No sword to swing. Only the ocean. And the ocean does not fight fairly. It simply exists. Hours pass. The storm slowly weakens. The waves become smaller. The crew finally relaxes. Nobody celebrates loudly. The Vikings know better than to insult the sea. They simply continue. A quiet respect remains. You look around at your companions. Everyone is exhausted. Wet clothing hangs heavily. Faces show tiredness. But everyone is still standing. That matters. You begin to understand that survival is often not about being fearless. It is about continuing even when you are uncomfortable. Night arrives. The sky becomes dark. The stars appear above you. The ship moves through the black water, guided by experience and the stars overhead. Some warriors rest. Others remain awake to watch the journey. You sit near the edge of the deck, wrapped in your cloak. The cold is deep, the kind of cold that enters your bones. You think about the village, the longhouse, the warm fire, the people you left behind. It feels strange to be so far away. But there is also a feeling of discovery. You are part of something bigger. A journey that many Vikings have taken before you. Across these waters, traders and explorers have traveled. They have found new lands, new people, new opportunities, and sometimes new dangers. The sea carries all of those possibilities. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The waves, the wind, the movement of the ship. It almost becomes calming, almost, until a wave hits the side and reminds you that the ocean is still in control. You smile slightly. Even now, the sea has a sense of humor. A very dangerous sense of humor. The next day brings clearer weather. The crew repairs small problems caused by the storm. A rope is replaced. A damaged section is checked. Wet supplies are dried. Again, the lesson repeats. Preparation never ends. A Viking journey is not one big moment of bravery. It is thousands of small actions. Checking, fixing, working, surviving. As the ship continues forward, the horizon stretches endlessly. You do not know exactly what waits ahead. But you know one thing. You are no longer just someone standing on the shore, watching ships leave. You are now part of the crew. Part of the journey. A Viking warrior traveling across the cold northern sea. The sea journey continues. Days begin to feel different when you are surrounded by nothing but water. On land, time is measured by familiar things. The sunrise over the village. The sound of animals waking. The work waiting outside the longhouse. But here, on the open ocean, the days blend together. Morning, afternoon, night. The endless movement of the ship. The endless sound of waves. You begin to understand why sailors develop a special connection with the sea. It becomes a world of its own. You wake up on the wooden deck as the first light appears. Your body feels tired from sleeping on a hard surface. The ship is not a comfortable home. It was never designed to be one. It was designed to move, to survive, to carry people across dangerous waters. You sit up and look around. The crew is already working. There is always something to do. A rope needs checking. A sail needs adjusting. Supplies need organizing. The ship requires constant attention. A small problem ignored today can become a disaster tomorrow. You help inspect the equipment. Your hands move along the ropes, checking for damage. The cold has made everything stiff. The sea air has soaked into everything. Nothing stays perfect out here. The Vikings know this. They do not expect an easy journey. They prepare for problems before they happen. Later, the crew gathers for a simple meal. Food on the ship is different from food at home. There is no large fire, no comfortable table, no variety. Everything must be practical. You eat slowly, saving energy. A long voyage teaches patience. You cannot waste supplies because you do not know what waits ahead. The older sailors explain that hunger is one of the hardest enemies at sea, not because there is no food immediately, but because every bite reminds you that the journey continues. You look around at the crew. Everyone has become quieter. The excitement of leaving home has faded. Now the reality of the voyage has arrived. The ocean is beautiful, but it is also lonely. The horizon looks the same in every direction. Sometimes you wonder if the ship is moving at all. Then a wave rises. The wind changes. And you remember, the sea is always moving. As the days pass, you notice small details that you ignored before. The color of the water, the direction of the clouds, the behavior of birds flying nearby. The sailors watch everything. Nature gives warnings. A sudden change in wind. A strange pattern in the waves. A different feeling in the air. Experienced Vikings learn to notice these signs. The sea speaks, but only if you know how to listen. One afternoon, the weather becomes uncomfortable again. Not a full storm, not yet. Just a warning. The clouds gather. The wind becomes stronger. The crew prepares. Everyone moves with less panic than before. You realize you are changing too. A few days ago, you would have felt overwhelmed. Now you know what to do. Check the ropes. Secure equipment. Stay balanced. Follow instructions. The journey is teaching you. A Viking warrior is not someone who never faces fear. A Viking warrior is someone who learns how to move with fear. The waves become larger. The ship rises and falls. You hold your position. The cold rain begins. Water runs down your face. Your hands become numb. But you continue. Hours pass. Eventually, the wind weakens. The clouds separate. The ocean becomes calmer. The crew releases a quiet sigh. Nobody celebrates loudly. The Vikings have too much respect for the sea. They know a calm moment can disappear quickly. That evening, the crew shares stories. The mood is better. Someone tells a funny story about a warrior who was more afraid of a tiny animal than a battlefield. Everyone laughs. Even in difficult conditions, people find moments of humor. You realize that laughter is another survival tool. A group that can smile together can endure more. The night arrives. The stars appear. You lie down, listening to the ship. The movement becomes almost familiar now. The waves create a rhythm. The wind creates a song. The wooden boards create a steady reminder that you are still moving forward. You think about what waits ahead. Perhaps a new land. Perhaps a new challenge. Perhaps another storm. You do not know. But you are no longer the same person who stepped onto this ship. The ocean has already changed you. You have learned patience. You have learned teamwork. You have learned respect. The journey continues through the darkness, and somewhere beyond the horizon, a new shore is waiting. The horizon finally changes. After days of seeing nothing but endless water, something appears in the distance. Land. At first, you are not even sure. It looks like a dark line separating the sea from the sky. But slowly, the shape becomes clearer. Mountains, trees, a coastline. The crew becomes quieter. Everyone notices. The journey that seemed endless is coming to an end. You feel a strange mixture of excitement and tiredness. The sea has tested you. The cold, the storms, the long nights, the constant movement. All of it has changed the way you think. You are not the same warrior who stepped onto this ship. The longship moves closer to the unfamiliar shore. The sailors adjust the sail. and guide the ship carefully. Reaching land is not as simple as just moving forward. The coastline can hide dangers, rocks, strong currents, unknown waters. The same sea that carried you here can still create problems at the very end. The experienced sailors watch carefully. They know patience matters most when you are close to success. A careless mistake near shore can ruin the entire journey. The ship slows. The oars move gently. Everyone prepares. You gather your equipment, your shield, your sword, your supplies. The familiar weight feels different now. Before, these objects represented preparation. Now, they represent what comes next. You do not know who or what waits on this land. The Vikings have always understood that new places bring new possibilities, but they also bring uncertainty. The ship finally reaches the shallow water. The crew steps down carefully. Your feet touch solid ground again. It feels strange, almost like the earth is moving after spending so much time on waves. You look back at the longship. It seems impossible that such a wooden creation carried you across the sea. But it did. The ship is proof of human skill. The crew begins unloading supplies. Again, the journey continues through simple tasks. Carry, organize, prepare. Even after crossing the ocean, there is still work to do. You explore the new area carefully. The landscape is different. The plants are unfamiliar. The sounds are different. Birds call from the trees. The wind moves through the forest. Everything feels new. The warriors move cautiously. A new land can be peaceful or dangerous. Nobody assumes anything. That is another lesson of the Viking life. Respect the unknown. You notice some warriors looking for signs of other people. Footprints, smoke, paths, anything that suggests someone else has been here. Because the world is already full of people. The Vikings are not entering an empty world. They are entering someone else's home. The older warriors understand this. They know that every meeting can go many ways. Trade, friendship, conflict. A lot depends on choices. For now, the crew focuses on survival. A temporary camp is created. Shelter is needed. The weather can change quickly. A fire is started. Food is prepared. The familiar routine returns. Even on a distant shore, the same needs remain. Warmth, food, safety. You sit near the fire later that evening, looking at the unfamiliar land around you. It is strange. You traveled so far, yet you are still doing the same things. Sitting near a fire, sharing food, listening to stories, maybe that is what connects all people, no matter where you are. You think about the journey, the storm, the fear, the teamwork, the moments when you wondered if you would make it. And now you are here, not because one person was powerful, because everyone worked together. The crew survived because each person had a role. The person managing the sail, the person fixing the ship, the person watching the weather, the person rowing when others were tired. A journey is never carried by one person alone. Night falls over the new land. The stars look the same as they did over the ocean. That feels comforting. No matter how far you travel, some things remain familiar. You lie down near the fire. The ground is harder than the longhouse floor. The air smells different. The sounds are unfamiliar. But you are calmer now. You have learned that fear often comes from not knowing. And every new experience becomes easier once you face it. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, maybe meeting new people, maybe exploring deeper, maybe finding resources, maybe facing danger. But tonight, you rest. A Viking warrior, far from home, under a different sky, on a different shore, still surviving, still moving forward. The morning arrives on the unfamiliar shore. For a moment you forget where you are. The sound of waves feels familiar. The fire has become warm. The sky looks the same. Then you open your eyes and remember, you are far from home. The longhouse is not nearby. The familiar village is not around you. Only the camp, the ship, and the unknown land ahead. You sit up slowly and look around. The crew is already awake. A Viking journey does not allow for long, lazy mornings. There is always something waiting. The camp must be checked. The supplies must be protected. The ship must be inspected. A journey does not become safe just because you reached land. New dangers can appear anywhere. You walk toward the longship first. It is the most valuable thing you have. Without the ship, returning home would be nearly impossible. The sailors examine the wooden boards carefully. A small crack, a loose rope, a damaged piece. Anything could become a serious problem later. The ship receives the same care as a living thing, because in many ways it is. It carried you through storms. It protected you from the ocean. Now you protect it. Nearby, other warriors prepare for the day. Some collect wood. Some search for food. Some explore the area around the camp. You join the group moving into the forest. The new land is quiet. Too quiet. The trees are tall. The ground is covered with leaves and plants you do not recognize. Every sound catches your attention. A branch breaking. A bird flying away. Movement in the distance. The forest reminds you that humans are not always the strongest creatures around. A warrior can carry a sword, but a forest does not care. Nature has its own rules. You move carefully. The older explorers teach you what to notice. Tracks on the ground, broken branches, signs of animals, changes in the environment. Survival depends on observation. Not everything dangerous announces itself. You discover signs of animals nearby. The group becomes more alert. Not because everyone is afraid, because everyone respects the unknown. You continue deeper. The land provides resources. Wood, plants, water, possible food. A place that seemed strange yesterday slowly begins to become understandable. That is how humans adapt. One small discovery at a time. You find a stream. The water is clear. Everyone stops for a moment. A simple thing, like fresh water, becomes incredibly important during a journey. At home, you rarely think about it. On a voyage, it becomes precious. You fill containers and return toward camp. The work continues. Always work. Always preparation. Later, the warriors practice again. Even in a new land, training does not stop. A warrior cannot say, "I am tired today." The world does not wait. Your body is still adjusting. Your muscles are sore. Your hands are rough. But each day, you feel stronger. The training is becoming easier. Your movements feel natural. You are learning the rhythm of this life. That evening, the crew gathers around the fire. The conversation turns to the future. Should you explore further? Should you stay longer? Should you trade? Should you leave? Every choice has risk. The Vikings understand that opportunity and danger often appear together. A new land can bring valuable resources, but it can also bring conflict. Nobody knows what tomorrow will bring. As the fire burns, stories begin. Someone talks about another journey years ago. A distant shore. A strange encounter. A difficult escape. The stories travel around the camp. Some become warnings. Some become inspiration. Some become legends. You listen carefully. Every story teaches something. The night grows colder. You wrap yourself in your cloak. The forest sounds continue around you. The sea waves move nearby. The longship rests on the beach. For the first time since arriving, you feel a small sense of comfort. This place is still unfamiliar, but it is no longer completely unknown. You have walked through the forest. You have found water. You have helped build the camp. You have survived another day. The Viking life is not about controlling everything. It is about adapting. The weather changes. The sea changes. The land changes. And you must change with it. You look toward the dark ocean. Somewhere beyond those waves is home. But for now, this shore is where your journey continues. And tomorrow, another challenge will arrive. The next days on the new shore teach you a different kind of survival. Back home, you understood the land. You knew where to find things. You knew which paths led to the water. You knew the people around you. Here, Everything must be learned again. The forest does not reveal its secrets quickly. The weather does not follow your expectations. Every sound could mean something. A bird, a branch, a distant movement. The unknown becomes your new teacher. You wake beside the fire and look around the camp. The crew has created a small routine. Even far from home, humans search for patterns. The same people gather wood. The same people check the ship. The same people prepare food. A little piece of the old life has followed you across the sea. You help prepare the morning meal. There is no luxury. The food is simple, but the crew knows how to make the most of what they have. A Viking journey depends on discipline. You cannot waste supplies. You cannot ignore small problems. Every resource matters. After eating, the warriors gather. Today, the group will explore farther. The goal is not battle. The goal is knowledge. A warrior who understands the land has an advantage. You move through the forest carefully. The trees are dense. The ground is uneven. The path is not clear. Unlike the open sea, where the horizon is endless, the forest hides everything. You keep your hand near your weapon, not because you expect danger every second, because preparation is part of your nature now. As you walk, you notice signs of life. Animals have moved through this area. The forest provides food, but hunting requires patience. A careless hunter finds nothing. A patient one learns to observe. The group moves slowly. The older warriors teach the younger ones how to read the land. A broken branch can tell a story. A footprint can reveal what passed by. A change in the air can warn of weather. The Vikings survive because they pay attention. After hours of walking, you reach a higher area. From there you can see the land stretching far away. Mountains, fields, rivers. A world that was unknown only days ago. The view is impressive, but it also reminds you how small you are. The world is enormous. You return to camp before darkness arrives. The fire is already prepared. The evening is quiet. Everyone is tired from exploration. But there is satisfaction. Each day, the unknown becomes slightly less unknown. That night, the conversation changes. People begin talking about possibilities. Could this land become a place for future journeys? Could trade happen here? Could more ships arrive? Nobody knows. The Vikings are explorers, but they are also practical. Dreams are important, but survival comes first. The next morning, the crew begins collecting materials. Wood, stone, useful plants, anything that could help. A temporary camp slowly becomes more organized. Small improvements make life easier. A better shelter, a stronger fire area, a safer storage place. The difference between comfort and discomfort is often just preparation. You spend time near the ship again. The longship still feels like the connection between two worlds. Behind you is the new land. Behind the horizon is home. The ship carries memories. The smell of the old village. The sounds of the longhouse. The people you left behind. You wonder what they are doing now. Are they sitting near the same fire? Are they looking at the same stars? The thought makes the world feel smaller. Even across the ocean, people remain connected. Later, you train with the other warriors. The exercises feel different here. The ground is unfamiliar. The environment is different. But the purpose remains the same. Stay ready. Stay strong. Stay alive. A Viking warrior does not know where the next challenge will come from. The sea, the weather, another group, or the simple difficulties of daily life. As evening arrives again, the camp becomes peaceful. The waves move gently nearby. The fire burns steadily. The crew rests. You sit quietly, thinking about everything that has happened. You came here expecting adventure. You found something else. You found patience. You found teamwork. You found respect for the world around you. The Viking life is not only about taking from the world. It is about learning how to live inside it. The forest. The ocean, the cold, the darkness, all of them are part of the journey. You look toward the stars. They are the same stars you saw over the village. And for a moment, the distance does not feel so great. Tomorrow will bring another challenge. But tonight, you rest, a Viking warrior beneath a foreign sky. Still exploring, still learning, still surviving. The shore slowly disappears behind you. The village that was once so familiar becomes smaller and smaller until it is only a collection of shapes along the edge of the land. You stand on the deck of the longship, watching the waves move beneath you. This is different from standing near the sea. On land, the ocean looks powerful. On the ship, you understand how powerful it truly is. The water moves in every direction. The ship rises, the ship falls. The wind pushes against the sail. The wooden boards creak with every wave. You hold on to the side and remind yourself that this is normal, at least normal for a Viking warrior. The crew moves around you with experience. They know where to stand. They know how to adjust the sail. They know how to respond when the ship moves unexpectedly. You are still learning. The first hours are exciting. The wind is strong but comfortable. The sky is clear. The ship moves smoothly across the water. The rhythm of the journey begins. The sound of the waves. The sound of the ropes. The sound of the oars moving through water. Everything blends together. For a moment, you understand why people choose this life. The feeling of traveling into the unknown is powerful, but the sea has another side. A few hours later, the wind changes. The calm water becomes rougher. New land begins to feel less like a stranger. Not like home, not yet, but no longer completely unknown. Every day adds another piece of understanding. A path through the forest, a place to find water, a safer location for the camp. The world slowly reveals itself. You wake early again, as you have learned to do. The fire is almost gone. The air is cold. The first task is always the same. Stay warm. You add wood to the fire and watch the flames return. It is a small thing, but small things matter. A warm fire means energy. Energy means strength. Strength means survival. The crew begins another busy day. Some warriors prepare for exploration. Others work near the ship. Some check the food supplies. Everyone has a role. The Viking way is built around responsibility. Nobody simply waits for someone else to solve a problem. You notice that even the strongest warriors help with ordinary work. A man who can fight in battle can also repair a rope. A skilled sailor can also carry wood. A respected leader can also prepare food. The journey has taught everyone humility. The land does not care about titles. Nature treats everyone the same. Later, you join a group exploring the nearby area. This time, you travel toward the river. Water has always been important. A settlement cannot survive without it. The river moves steadily through the land. It provides fish. It provides drinking water. It provides a path for travel. You watch the current carefully. Even a peaceful river can be dangerous. The Vikings know that water always deserves respect. You walk along the riverbank and notice signs of another presence, not animals, people. The discovery changes the mood immediately. The group becomes silent. The unknown has become something more specific. Someone else lives here. The warriors do not rush forward. They observe. They wait. They think. The stories told about distant lands often focus on battles. But real encounters are complicated. Two groups meeting for the first time do not know what will happen. Fear, curiosity, trust. All can appear at the same moment. You return to camp with the information. The leaders discuss what to do. Some want to explore. Some want to be careful. The conversation continues for a long time. Because every choice has consequences. This is different from training. Different from fighting. There is no simple answer. A sword cannot solve every problem. Sometimes the hardest decisions require patience. The next day, a small group prepares to investigate. You are among them. Your equipment feels heavier than before. The conversation continues for a long time. Because every choice has consequences. This is different from training. different from fighting? There is no simple answer. A sword cannot solve every problem. Sometimes the hardest decisions require patience. The next day, a small group prepares to investigate. You are among them. Your equipment feels heavier than before. But tonight, you rest. A Viking warrior learning that the greatest adventures are not always battles. Sometimes they are discoveries. The days on the new land continue, and the world around you slowly becomes familiar. Not easy, not predictable, but familiar. You now know where the river bends. You know where the safest paths are. You know where the ship rests on the shore. The unknown is becoming a place you can understand. That is how every journey begins. A person arrives somewhere new and slowly creates a connection. You wake beside the fire again. The morning air is cold, but you notice something different. You are no longer thinking about home every moment. The new land has started becoming part of your life. The crew prepares for another day. The ship needs attention. The camp needs improvement. Food needs to be collected. The simple tasks continue. Even great journeys are mostly made of ordinary moments. You walk toward the beach with a few warriors. The long ship looks strong. But the sea has left its marks. The salt, the waves, the storms, everything affects it. The shipbuilders begin checking the wooden boards. A small repair now can prevent a major problem later. You help carry tools and materials. The work feels familiar, almost like the days before the voyage. And that reminds you of something. No matter how far people travel, many parts of life stay the same. People still build. People still repair. People still prepare. Later, the crew decides to explore the coastline. The sea may reveal more than the forest. A coastline can show paths for future journeys. Possible places to land. Possible dangers. The longship moves along the shore. The waves are calmer today. The crew watches carefully. The ocean looks peaceful, but everyone remembers how quickly it can change. You notice birds flying above the water, fish moving below the surface. The signs of life continue everywhere. The world is full of activity. Even when humans are silent, nature continues. The crew discovers a small area with useful resources: wood, stone. A good place for temporary shelter. Everyone begins discussing possibilities. Could this become a place where future travelers stop? Could ships return here? Could people from different lands meet here? Nobody knows. The future is always uncertain. That evening, something unexpected happens. A few visitors approach the camp. The same people you saw before. The first meeting was cautious. This time, the atmosphere is different. Less fear, more curiosity. Small exchanges begin. The Vikings show objects from their homeland. The locals show things from theirs. Different tools, different materials, different designs. You realize something. The world is not divided into one way of living. There are many. Every group has learned how to survive in their own environment. The people here understand their forests. The Vikings understand the sea. Both have knowledge. Neither knows everything. The idea is surprisingly comforting. Everyone is learning. The evening becomes peaceful. There is no battle, no conflict. Just people sitting near a fire, talking without many words, sharing food, watching each other. You think about how different this is from the stories. Many stories talk only about warriors and battles. But real life is often quieter. A journey is not only about fighting. It is about meeting, learning, changing. Later, when the visitors leave, the crew discusses what happened. Some warriors are surprised. Some are happy. Some remain cautious. Experience has taught them not to trust too quickly. But it has also taught them not to fear everything unknown. Balance. That is what survival requires. You return to the fire and look at your hands. They have changed. They are rougher, stronger, marked by work. The journey has left signs on you, not just on your body, on your thoughts. You are still a Viking warrior. But you are also something more. A traveler, an observer, someone who has seen a larger world. The night becomes quiet. The stars appear above the camp, the same stars that watched your ship cross the ocean, the same stars that shine over your distant home. You lie down and listen. The waves, the wind, the fire. The sounds are different from the longhouse, but they are becoming familiar. Tomorrow will bring another challenge. Perhaps more exploration. Perhaps more discoveries. Perhaps a reason to return home. For now, you rest. A Viking warrior beneath a foreign sky, learning that the greatest journeys change not only where you are, but who you become. The journey that began as a search for something unknown has become something much deeper. You arrived here expecting challenges. You found them. But you also found lessons you never expected. The sea taught you patience. The storms taught you respect. The new land taught you curiosity. And the people you met taught you that the world is larger than any single village or kingdom. The morning begins quietly. The camp is calm. The fire is low. The longship rests near the shore, waiting. You walk along the beach and look at it. A simple wooden ship. Yet it carried you across an ocean. It carried your fears, your hopes, your memories. You realize that the ship is more than transportation. It is the reason this journey was possible. The crew begins preparing again. But today feels different. There is a decision to make. Every journey eventually reaches a moment where you must choose the next direction. Stay, explore, or return. The leaders gather everyone near the fire. The discussion begins. Some believe there is more to discover. The land is rich. The people are interesting. The possibilities are many. Others remember the distance from home. The supplies are limited. The sea is unpredictable. A longer stay means greater risk. You listen carefully. The old version of you might have wanted only adventure. To keep moving forward. To see what comes next. But the journey has changed your thinking. A wise warrior knows when to continue and when to return. Bravery is not always moving forward. Sometimes, bravery is making the difficult choice. The crew decides to explore a little longer before leaving. There is still much to learn. The next days are spent gathering information. You visit nearby areas. You observe the land. You learn from the people who live here. The more you see, the more you understand. Every place has its own rhythm, its own traditions, its own challenges. The people here are not simply strangers anymore. They are people with families, with stories, with daily struggles, just like everyone else. One afternoon, you help repair a tool with some of the local people. The work is simple, but the moment feels important. Two groups who began as unknowns are now sharing skills. You notice something. The best connections are often created through ordinary actions, not grand speeches, not dramatic moments, just working together. As the days pass, you prepare for the return journey. The ship is checked again. Supplies are collected. Everything must be organized. A return trip can be just as dangerous as arriving. The sea does not care if you are going home. It only sees the ship, the weather, the waves. The crew prepares carefully. The longship becomes loaded again. You walk through the camp one last time. The place that once felt strange now feels familiar. The trees, the river, the beach, the fire area. You remember your first night here. The uncertainty, the questions, the fear. Now those memories feel far away. Before leaving, you meet the people you encountered. The goodbye is quiet. There are no long conversations. The languages are different. But understanding does not always need words. A gesture, a smile, a simple exchange. Sometimes, that is enough. You return to the ship. The crew pushes it into the water. The longship begins moving. The shore slowly becomes smaller. You look back. This land changed you, not because of gold, not because of battle, because of experience. The ocean opens ahead, the same ocean that frightened you before. But now you know it better. You understand its moods, its dangers, its power. The journey home begins. The wind fills the sail. The waves carry the ship. The crew works together. Everything feels familiar now. You are still a warrior, but you are also a traveler who has seen beyond the horizon. Night arrives. You lie on the deck and look at the stars. The same stars guided you here. Now they guide you back. You think about the stories you will tell when you return, not just about the places you saw, but about what you learned. That the world is wide, that fear can become knowledge, that strangers can become friends, that even the coldest journey can change a person. The ship continues through the darkness. The waves create their steady rhythm, and you finally understand. The greatest treasure of a Viking voyage was never only what was found. It was the person who returned. The journey home feels different from the journey away. When you first crossed the sea, every wave carried uncertainty. Every cloud looked like a warning. Every sound made you wonder what waited ahead. Now the same ocean surrounds you. The same cold wind touches your face. The same waves move beneath the ship. But you are different. You know the sea better. You know yourself better. The longship moves steadily through the water. The crew has found its rhythm again. Everyone knows their role. The sailor watching the wind. The warriors helping with the ropes. The builders checking the wooden boards. The cook preparing simple meals. A ship is like a small world. Everyone depends on everyone else. You look around and realize how much you have changed. Before the voyage, you thought being a Viking warrior was mostly about strength. The strongest person. The bravest fighter. The one who could stand against the greatest danger. Now you understand there is much more. A warrior must be patient. A warrior must think. A warrior must protect the people beside him. The sea taught you that. The storm did not care how strong you were. The forest did not care about your reputation. The unknown land did not care about your stories. Only your actions mattered. Days pass as the ship continues home. The weather remains mostly calm. The crew takes advantage of the peaceful conditions. The ship is repaired. The supplies are organized. The journey becomes a routine. But even during quiet moments, the ocean demands attention. The sailors watch the horizon, the wind, the clouds, the waves. A peaceful sea can change quickly. Everyone remembers. At night, you sit near the edge of the ship. The stars appear above you. You remember the first night of the voyage. You were cold, uncertain, wondering if you made the right choice. Now you sit here with different thoughts. You wonder what will happen when you return. Will the village feel the same? Will the people recognize the changes in you? You are bringing back no treasure made of gold, no legendary weapon, no great story of battle. But you are bringing back something else. Experience, knowledge, memories. The greatest journeys are not always measured by what you carry. Sometimes they are measured by what you become. The next morning, the crew notices signs of approaching land. Not home yet, but closer. Birds appear. The water changes. The wind carries different smells. Everyone becomes more alert. The feeling spreads through the ship. Home is near. The excitement grows. People begin talking about what they will do first. Some want to see family. Some want a real bed. Some want a warm meal beside a large fire. Everyone laughs. After weeks on a wooden ship, simple comfort